Oh, hello again, you extraordinary subscribers. Welcome back, everybody, to the Hemingway Land YouTube channel. What is this, people? What state is this that we are in this weekend? What is the thumbnail on this video? Yes, people, yes. We are back in the Aloha State for the first time in a long time. We've been buying properties out here. We've been selling properties out here. We just have not been doing it as much on the website. You know, blah, blah, blah. Photographers, don't get me started. Anyway, we'll get to that in a bit, guys. Mere moments, guys. Hold your pants on. Until that time, however, I do want to just stop and take a moment here in this week's video. My customer support team has recently brought to my attention that there are people who are coming to the website who are having a problem, and we're going to call the problem common, I guess, because it's been reported on multiple occasions. My guess is nobody watching this video, nobody who tunes in weekly to listen to me talk about things has this problem. But in case you are one of these people, I just want to take a moment to address it here in the video. So on a typical listing page, we have this section called Property Details, where there's like a little write-up over here, and then there's some information over here. And apparently there are a number of people. The word I was trying to say was number, by the way. A number of people who see location and size, legal information, access, utilities, zoning restrictions, so on and so forth. They see that and they don't understand that those are clickable tabs that when clicked will display more information, sometimes a lot more information about the property to help better familiarize them with details of both the land as well as things they would need to know about the county, about zoning, about so on and so forth. And they call and they ask questions, and then my very, very patient, unreasonably patient person who I have answering the phone, way more patient than I, a degree of patience that and I'm going to guess most of you could never conjure. She sits on the phone with these people, and then she tries to explain them, like, yeah, well, they're tabs, and you click them, and more information will appear, and that very obvious question you're asking us, we've already addressed it. It's on the listing page. Just click on the tabs. Anyway, so in case that describes one of you, you know, there's tabs, okay? There's tabs. Fortunately, guys, I am able to react to this in more Zen-like fashion because I now have a very helpful sign over my computer given to me a few weeks ago that says, can't fix stupid. Anywho. All right, guys, with all that said, you know, by the way, guys, in last week's video, I told a story about my experience going to the local Crumble Cookie to get a caramel pumpkin cookies, which I'd been looking forward to for like the better part of a year. We edited that story out of the video because it went on so long in relation to the things that are actually important to discuss. We may eventually get around to putting it back in one of these videos. I mean, the long and the short of it was you could have blindfolded a stranger, put them in the crumble cookie, and they would have made the 4 cookies faster than the guy who was actually tasked with doing the job. But it's really a much longer story, and I was going to include it again in this week's video. But the second half of this video is it's like 13 minutes, and so I just, you know, anyway. I am perhaps charming, amusing, and entertaining only in small doses. So, anyway. All right, guys. With all that said, let's get to this week's. Here we go, guys. New property. All right, people. As I mentioned at the end of last week's video, I've got a handful of properties that have been photographed but aren't out of escrow yet. And I've got about an equal amount that are out of escrow but haven't been photographed. And because of this, we're going to do something a little different this week. So, as you guys have probably noticed, we've been listing more and more properties with realtors this past year. Many are listed on the website with the local realtor's contact info included, but behind the scenes we are also experimenting with listings that are marketed by a realtor only and do not appear on the website. And we are doing this for a variety of reasons, which I will not bore you with, but the long and the short of it is that Hemingway Land is in what we will call a transitional phase right now, in which we are buying and selling our first 6-figure properties, and I do not believe I have the audience for that on this website, and nor will I without significant effort. The kind of effort, by the way, I am too lazy to exert. The point is that as we muddle our way through various selling strategies over the next few months, I thought I might introduce a new idea here this week to you, our extraordinary extraordinary subscribers, which is namely debuting properties at a reduced subscriber-only price prior to them being listed with a realtor for the much higher market value a few weeks later. And in a few moments, you will see why I am doing it now and trying it first with 3 adjacent lots we have in, yes, you guessed it, people, Hawaii. So the properties we are offering this week are found on the Big Island, aka Hawaii County, and more specifically on the southern end of the island. More specifically still, they are located in the Kau'u district. And to narrow it down even further, they can be found in the Ocean View Estate subdivision you see outlined here on the map. And here at Hemingway Land, we like Ocean View because the sub, number 1, consists of 1-acre parcels, which is a larger chunk of land than you'll find elsewhere. Additionally, they tend to be priced lower on a price per acre basis than what you encounter elsewhere on the island. Number 2, the roads out here are all paved and well maintained. Number 3, there's power running up and down most every one of these roads, not just down by the highway, but really all throughout the sub. Number 4, zoning here is very laid back, meaning that you can use the property for conventional structures as well as unconventional ones, such as tiny homes, yurts, shipping containers, so on and so forth. Number 5, there is no HOA, no annual dues, no covenants and restrictions, so a lot more independence to develop the land however you like. Number 6, all of these properties are close to the ocean and the many nearby beaches, such as Miloli, the Punalu'u Black Sand Beach, and the Papakolea Green Sand Beach on the southern tip of the island, as well as numerous other attractions. And finally, guys, number 7, oh, by the way, it's Hawaii. One of the most enviable destinations on the planet with no shortage of things to do for locals and tourists alike. So, in short, these are the kind of properties that our buyers really like. In addition, guys, because it's Hawaii, you get a good amount of precipitation out here. People in this sub do not have to drill wells, but instead use rainwater catchment systems, which are very, very common out here. Now, back when we had a reliable photographer in this state, we bought and sold a number of lots out here in the northern half of the subdivision, say roughly from this point north. And because this part of the sub is furthest from the main road, there's less development, and parcels out here generally tend to be offered for less, say between $10,000 and $15,000 now, say $8,000 to $12,000 pre-COVID, and at that time, we would typically sell our lots for between $6,000 and $9,000, and they would sell out pretty fast. All that time, however, I always wanted to get lots closer to the highway, in a more developed region with more homes, more enviable location, easier access to the highway, nearby stores, and hence, lots that we could sell for more. And then over the summer, someone offered us the 3 adjacent lots I am going to discuss today. Now, people, let me say this. When the previous owner called us and offered us these properties at a very reasonable price, he said, hey, listen, I gotta tell you, before you buy these, you should be aware there's some junk cars on the land and some trash. So if you buy these as is, you're gonna be stuck with that. Is that okay? Now, people, over the years here at Hemingway Land, we have had at least 3 dozen situations like this where a property needs to be cleaned up. And each time we call some local trash removal service, we pay them a couple $100, and they go out to the land and clear it up for us. And typically, these guys are glad to do it because a lot of the stuff they end up either refurbishing or using in some way or simply reselling. And so they tend to make more off the stuff they find than even what we pay them. Additionally, because the owner doesn't want to deal with the junk removal, we tend to buy these properties for next to nothing, and then we go on to make even more on the resale. And this is something we have done many, many times in New Mexico, a few times in Colorado, and even once in Arizona. And every time we've done it, it's never more than pick up the phone, call someone, schedule a time, maybe have someone there to meet them. But most of the time, all you really need to do is prove you own the land, and the guys will go out and clean it up. All right, so when this guy said this to us, I thought, this is not going to be a problem at all. We're pros here at Hemingway Land. We're going to get this done. We're going to bang this out super fast. There's no way we're not going to find someone who wouldn't want free cars. And so I jumped. I leapt at the opportunity to purchase these. And the plan was to get them cleaned up, get them photographed, and resell them at some tremendous profit. Well, as the saying goes, between the thought and the action lies the shadow. And that is the case here, guys. We couldn't get them cleaned up. We could not. And you remember earlier when I said we bought these over the summer? Yeah, it was actually the summer of 2022. I dealt with it on and off for about 4 months, and eventually I just got tired of it. I had more pressing concerns, and so at a certain point I just said, I'll worry about it tomorrow. Tomorrow. And of course, tomorrow never comes until a year later when I want to get these off the books. So, with all that said, let's go back to the map. All right, people, the 3 properties in question are located, get this, at the base of the subdivision, 1 road north of the highway here along Seabreeze Parkway. Generally speaking, the closer you get to the highway, the more expensive property values become, the more you can ask for these. Now, this is an ideal location that puts you in very close proximity to all the stores here at the entrance of the subdivision, such as the Ace Hardware, the Ocean View Market, and a couple other places you can get groceries and supplies at. In addition, it's just a quick drive over to Captain Cook, where you'll find more fast food restaurants, shops, professional services, quote unquote. You get the point. Now, if we go to the parcel map, these are the exact 3 lots, and you'll get a sense of the footprint of each. Now, the way this sub was platted, you've got 3 different types of lots out here. The fatter ones like these, the really skinny ones like these, and mid-size, what I'm calling mid-size ones, like the ones we're offering. And the dimensions of these lots tend to be 89 feet across and 488 feet deep, for those of you curious about dimensions. Now, as noted, I can't get a photographer out here who doesn't send back photos without either his shadow, his car, or his thumb in the shot. So I'm going to show you guys street level here on Google Maps just to give you a sense of the land, and I'll mix in some photos from the subdivision just to give you a better sense of some things as we go. So, first off, this is Seabreeze Parkway. As you can see, there's paved road access to the land, as I mentioned earlier. Curiously, and let me just jump back to satellite view for a second here, guys. If you look at where these properties are located, you'll notice a lot of development here with some nice home sites nearby like this one, and this one. For some reason, all these nearby roads, Tree Fern, Aloha, and Iolani, they all have power lines running up and down the road. Seabreeze at this small intersection does not. It's unusual because they really are all throughout the subdivision. Whatever the case, nearest power to all these lots is about 500 feet away at the corner of either Seabreeze and Tree Fern here or Seabreeze and Iolani here. Either way, my suspicion is probably not a big deal for Helco, the local utility, to come out there, run a pole or 2 out to the land. Whatever the case, let's go back to street view. So, as you can see, the terrain of the property, like much of what's out here, consists of lava rock and ojai trees. Just to give you guys a sense, here's some better pictures of similar terrain for properties we've had in the past. Both are very common to the region, and everyone who develops land out here usually has to get these dozed or bulldozed. And that kind of service is quite common on the island. It's actually something that a lot of people offer. Point being, you apply for what's called a grubbing and grading permit, you hire someone to doze the land, and they'll flatten all this out and clear it up for you. And I'm saying all this, guys, working off the assumption you want to live on the property. If you don't, if you just want to flip it, getting it dozed isn't a bad idea because it'll add more value. Whatever the case, let's talk about the major issue here. So, if you scrutinize street view here a little bit, you can see a couple cars and a little bit of trash left on the land. That said, the better indication of this is when we go to satellite view, you can kind of see a trail of debris that leads back from the road and seems to concentrate here. Now, while I could not get good photos taken out here, one of the trash removal guys did manage to take a few decent shots, which I'll show you here and which will be included on the listing page. And this will give you an excellent sense of the volume, quality, and condition of both the cars and the debris. When last I got a head count on the cars, it was supposedly about 30 vehicles on the property. Are there any more or less now? I don't know. Probably more, probably not less. Additionally, of the 3 lots, is there anyone that has more or less cars and junk on it than another? I couldn't say, but probably not. And for the record, guys, I know as we look at these photos, many of you are thinking, oh my God, what is Hemingway trying to pawn off on us this week? My God, I know, people. But here's the thing. I genuinely believe that these are great properties. I genuinely believe they're in a great location. And I genuinely believe there's a buyer out there who probably not only knows what to do with this kind of stuff, way better than I do, but can make money off it as well. Additionally, anyone who can get these properties cleared, anyone who's got the time and the inclination to take this on, will likely either be able to build a really nice home site on a larger chunk of land than any of your neighbors have, or will be able to flip these for twice what you paid us. In fact, let me just go to Redfin for a second here, guys. If you bring up the comps in this area, zoom in on the subdivision down by the highway, under home type up here, specify land, and then sort them from lowest to highest, you'll see we've got a 1 acre lot close by listed for $60,000. Here's another 1 acre for $60,000. Here's 1.5 for $60,000. Over here a little further north, you've got a 1 acre for 25. Here's a 1 acre for 30. And then, guys, if you're talking about a collection of adjacent lots, and again, 3 lots is not easy to come by anywhere in this sub, but if you're just looking at the larger acres, here's 2 acres for 67 over here, and probably the best comp on the whole MLS right now is this 3 acres about a block away, currently listed for $75,000. So you could buy these 3 from us for $45,000, relist them a month later after you get them cleaned up, relist them for $75,000, and with a few months you'll have made $30,000 profit. People, this is what we do here at Hemingway Land. If I had the time, I'd fly out to Hawaii, I'd spend a month there supervising this operation, I'd get the land cleared up, I'd probably also try to get it dozed just to add extra value, and then I would resell it. Regrettably, however, I don't have that kind of time, and thus, I am passing this opportunity, and yes, I genuinely believe it's an opportunity, on to you guys. So, people, today is September 15th. Today we are listing this property on the site, 3 acres total, priced at $45,000. This is going to be on the site until the end of the month, available at this price, only to you guys and to our email blast subscribers. At the end of the month, if it hasn't sold, it will be removed and listed with a local realtor for the market value of $75,000 total, which I have no doubt it will eventually sell for. So, I hope one of you agrees with me and sees, despite its obvious challenges, the diamond in the rough that is this 3-acre collection of lots, and I hope one of you takes advantage of our subscriber-only reduced price before then. With all that said, going live on the website next week, we will be back in New Mexico with some new lots in Taos County, but not the usual locations. Yes, people, we've got new properties and a new subdivision that I think you guys are really going to like. No junk cars next week, guys. I promise. Until such a time, have a great 7 days, and we'll see you back here in next week's video.